Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Today we're going to talk about how we saved this F10 BMW from being parted out. So if you're not brought up to speed, this is an F10 BMW 535i. I recently started a new shop, and one of the things I wanted to try was fully restoring one of these cars and see if I can get my money back if I take care of all the maintenance and make it cosmetically really good. So we took care of everything, cosmetics, as well as all the routine maintenance, and future-proofed it in terms of maintenance you'd be doing down the road to be able to get a few years out of it. So the idea was to make it as perfect as possible, to be able to get potentially top dollar so that we can kind of make this a theme for my new shop and for my channel. So this car looks a lot different than when I first got it. It's got some nice M Sport 20-inch rims now that are staggered. It's wearing P0 Pirellis in the rear. It was straight pipe, but that's been repaired. It had some pretty awful tint, which has been removed. The interior was completely restored. There's no wear and tear to be found anywhere. You could say that I threw everything in the kitchen sink at this car in terms of trying to make it 99 out of 100. Here's a quick look at some of the stuff I did to this car. There's the next page. It all adds up to about what I paid for it, $5,500. So to be honest, if this car needed anything else besides what I've already done, then I would have hit a wall in terms of being able to make this financially viable, because I don't want to have to charge more than the car is worth at the top end of retail, because the next owner may appreciate the maintenance and the cosmetics, but what if something happens where they need to sell it in a few months? It shouldn't be upside down. Even though a lot of people get themselves in positions where they're upside down in terms of interest and whatnot on existing loans, I want this to be a good deal at the same time as well. So if you guys are wondering, I'm asking $14,300 for this car. It has 130,000 miles, just about. I'm going to put my email address on the screen if you guys want to email me. And if you guys really want it, I'm in the San Diego area, Socal. We could always arrange for shipping, and this could be an awesome car. If someone really genuinely wants something that you can drive for a few years and hopefully just put oil changes into it, because it's gotten everything else done. Anything that would be routine maintenance, anything that would make it future-proof in terms of maintenance, you know, a list goes on and on and on. I probably won't remember it off the top of my head now, but when I edit this video, I'm going to cut over to scenes of me doing work. This car got all brand new suspension. It has new struts up front, new struts in the rear, fresh tires. It just rides amazing now. We'll go for a quick test drive to kind of give you my inputs on this car and kind of compare it to other cars I've owned. And then we'll cut over to all the work that I did on the car, so you guys can see if this will be a good value for you. If you're ever looking for something like a more of an executive car, the 5 Series, etc., this could be a great opportunity, because I've dumped all my time into this thing to the point where it wouldn't be worth it on an hourly basis, but it's definitely worth it in terms of enjoyment, making a car as perfect as possible. So I guess while we're going for a quick drive, I can talk a little bit about some of the stuff I can remember off the top of my head that have been replaced. So we did the front left wheel bearing because the threads were a little bit screwed up. Someone over tightened it in the past. It's had its engine and transmission fluid flushed and the adaptations reset. It's had its spark plugs, coils, a couple fuel injectors replaced. It has new suspension. It had its sway bar and bushing replaced. It had its mufflers restored because they had been removed off the car. I got an alignment and all 4 wheels balanced. Of course, the new tires. It had walnut blasting done, valve cover gasket done, the accessory drive belt, the Vanol solenoids. You know, when we did the suspension, we did the bump stops as well as the strut hats in the front. We changed the TPMS antenna because it was acting up. If I go to vehicle info, vehicle status, we go to check control, all systems are okay. I changed the adaptive headlight module. Then there's tons of interior cosmetics. There was the tail light. There was just a number of things that I can't remember off the top of my head, but it added up to what I paid for this car, which would be, you know, at the bottom range of excellent condition if I just took care of the cosmetics. When you factor in all this future-proof maintenance that was done for this car, you're in great shape for many miles to come. Hopefully this doesn't come across as a huge for sale ad. I'll give you my impressions of what it's like to drive an F10 to get something out of this video. But it's kind of what I hope to be able to do. If I can find a buyer through YouTube, that would be awesome. And if they're willing to pay for the fact that I put my hands on this and I made it as perfect as I possibly could, then that would mean a lot to me, because I would love to be able to get these cars to their best condition possible, where they're at the top percentile, excellent condition. I really just like the idea of, you know, when I put my hands on one of these things, there's going to be a standard. It's going to be put through a restoration, so to speak. If you guys ever heard of Enthusiast Auto Group, they have this whole in-house checklist that they like to use on their cars. I kind of like that idea, but for used cars that were actually a basket case from an auction, potentially even. Well, let's get on to what this car is like to drive. So the suspension was an absolute must. It really needed to be done to make this car what it should be. And actually even little details like the alignment had to be done. But I can tell you that this is an executive type of car. It doesn't feel like an E90. It doesn't feel like an X5. It feels like an executive high-end car, like an older 7 Series, but with a sporty demeanor. All the inputs in the first 10% of what you do are very much isolated and luxurious to give you a relaxing drive, and you have to dip into things in terms of how you load the car up and how you load the throttle up to be able to bring out its sporty nature. But here we're taking a sweeper, and it's very stable. So this car is all about embracing its weight. It feels heavy, it feels sturdy, it feels planted. It just feels like it's a mass that wants to keep going, so to speak, but in a good way. I know that sounds a little funny, but it basically feels like the car is heavy but stable, isolated, and very quiet. So do I personally like the way this car drives? I do. I probably am more of a fan of something like the newer G20 because it's still quite large, but it's just a little more agile. But this is a very high-end feel. It just feels like an expensive car for what that's worth. So I've been enjoying driving it, and I love the fact that it's as good as it possibly could be. I would dare to say that this is probably exactly how it felt when it left the showroom floor about 10 years ago. So besides this being a quick for sale ad for this car, I wanted to give you guys input on what it takes. What I don't know is if there's a buyer that's just going to love the concept of something that's being completely restored and is maintenance ready for many years to come, and if I can get fair value for it, that would dictate a lot. I got a little bit lucky because the person that bought this out of auction kind of paid some fees and kind of took a bit of a hit, so I could have just enough to be able to make this thing perfect. I probably would have had to stop before I could make it perfect without risking going negative if it wasn't for the fact that I got a bit of a deal for the previous owner. If all goes well and this car sells for what I'm hoping for, there'll probably be around 3K profit for me. And if it's a stretch and I'm only able to get what I put into it, then it was just some YouTube videos and was definitely not worth the man hours, but we'll see. I didn't get a chance to make a DIY video on the suspension, so I will include that footage as well as a quick synopsis of what was done to this car so you guys can see it all in one place. I'm going to link to this video in my for sale ad. And all in all, hopefully this is the start of good things to come, and we'll be catching up at the shop once we're done with the quick synopsis. please forgive the background noise. I am in an industrial area after all, but hopefully this video gives you an idea of what would be involved if you're trying to pick up an auction car and fix it up yourself. You should be probably within 25% of what the retail price is if you play your cards right, assuming that the car doesn't have any major mechanical damage. Even if it did in my case, I would have thrown an engine at it and maybe not done all the cosmetics. I should have been able to get out pretty clean. So as long as you don't mind investing your time, you can save yourself money. I still have the E90, of course. I got a new set of rims and tires coming for it because of course these look horrible. I've been meaning to do that for quite a while. I got some Style 193 rims. I got some Michelin Pilot Sport 4S tires, and we're gonna give this thing some love. It's been a while. So before I forget, I gotta give a huge shout out to Joel from Rolley Motorsports. I'll put a link in the description to his Instagram. Give him a follow if you're interested in related content he does upload on Instagram. He really helped out with this project. He's come out and put his time in. And he wants to kind of get involved here and there, which I'm completely cool with. And if you guys need detail services in Socal, check the description as well. He'll be able to help you out. So I'll put a link in the description if you guys are interested in putting an offer in on that 5 Series. If you're wondering what's coming next on the channel, it's right over here. This is a 2012 328i with 98,000 miles on it. Needs some cleanup, but it's still in good shape because it's definitely not high miles. There's a severe knock sound when the car is idling. It could be timing chain related or it could be rod bearing related, but this engine's coming out. It's going to be dissected and either repaired or replaced. These cars tend to be popular in my area because they're powerful, fuel efficient, and they have a bit of status. But of course they have major problems, and we're going to be outlining what the problems are on this particular car in a future video series. So hopefully you guys are excited for what's coming next. If you guys are interested in that 5 Series, please don't even hesitate. Give me an email. Let's try to get that sold for good money for someone that wants a reliable daily driver. If this is the first video you're catching on mine, please consider subscribing. If you liked it, please give it a like so it'll rank higher. Thanks for watching.